Hello crew, glad you're still here with me. Alright, now in this lecture video I will be presenting a body of work that I feel puts great emphasis on the purpose of a photograph. In case I need to clarify, a portrait doesn't necessarily require the subject or person to be looking directly at the camera. In fact, during my studies at Sacramento State University, it was defined as to why the photographer may or may not want the person in the photograph to be looking at the camera. Now, for example, if the subject or person in the photograph is looking at the viewer, i.e. the photographer or the audience, which is the person looking at the photograph, gives off the slightest bit of confrontation. Now, it's kind of like I'm looking at you, you looking at me kind of vibe. Also, the angle of which the photographer chooses to photograph this person gives the perception of dominance. Shoot a little higher than your subject's eye, and you've inadvertently given the power to the viewer to look down upon them, right? Just think about whenever you stand over somebody. Do you feel superior to them? Now, whereas in contrast, if you shoot lower, looking up at your subject, you've given your subject or the model the power and made the audience, the viewer, feel inferior. Now again, if someone stands over you and they're taller than you, do you feel inferior and dominated by this person? I think yes, perhaps. Alright. Now, a brief disclaimer, this body of work may be hard for some to see, as it was for me when I first came across this photo essay. It's strong from an emotional experience, as I think we all can relate to it. And perhaps for some of us, we have already experienced it. I won't say too much now, as it will be a spoiler to this body of work. Whenever you are photographing a photo essay or portraits in general, I want you to think about your audience. What clues do you want to reveal or remain a mystery? What emotions do you want to evoke? What do you want them to consider or reconsider perhaps in the future that affects them on a personal level? Here, for this body of work, the audience can easily position themselves behind the camera and witness what Nancy Borowick, the photographer for this photo essay, had to endure throughout this documentary process. I like to introduce this early on the semester as it should prepare you on how to complete your midterm project, since it is a photo essay. Now, from a wedding perspective, that is a photo essay. You're still telling a story, and it requires the same principles to consider: technical, lighting and composition, and creatively, what is your presentation? What's the story? What is a photo essay? A photo essay is a series of photographs that tell a story. Unlike a written essay, a photo essay focuses on visuals instead of words. With a photo essay, you can stretch your creative limits and explore new ways to connect with your audience. Photo essays range from purely photographic works to photographs with captions or small comments to even full text essays illustrating with photographs. Photo essays can also come in a variety of forms: short-term, like one session style or over a few days, whereas long-term photo essays can be a sequence of images that expand over months or even years. As you begin to research, and even during your time of photographing, I want you to be prepared mentally of the kinds of shots that you can make based on your reconnaissance research. Like, who might this person be, or the type of home or establishment they spend most of their day at, the kinds of activities they do. However, one thing to also side note, you need to be prepared for a story that totally changes from your original idea and perspective. It will present itself to you in this amazing organic way, and that's where all the magic happens and it unfolds before your eyes. Just be ready for it. As you look at Nancy's work on her website, please take a moment to read the captions. You have to click on the image for the caption to appear, but take a moment first to read the image from a visual standpoint. Look at all the context, the clues, the texture, the composition in the images before you actually read the caption. Consider the titling of each photo as well, as you may want to title each of your own photos for your midterm project. This is also a perfect example of how you could or should caption your photos, which is also a requirement for the midterm. Now, originally, I was going to include my initial thoughts and technical notes in this video, but I feel that that will take away the experience of viewing this project on your own first. Please take note, physical notes of your own initial observations and impressions about your experience before viewing the photo essay, and also take note of the creative techniques that you can see from lighting to composition. Now, my assumption is that all these photos were done in natural light, but despite that, there is still a characteristic to the light that can be defined visually. Don't just consider, yeah, the light is beautiful, but ask, what does the light do for the scene or your subject? How does it shape the scene? Now, there will be a discussion assignment, kind of like the video you guys made for your student intros, where you'll need to provide feedback addressing your initial thoughts about the project. Can you relate to the project? And if so, why? Don't hesitate to share a personal experience. Then describe 3 of the photos in the project. Reference the title of the photo, which can be found in the captions. Describe technical attributes and just your overall feedback about the project. Alright, well, I hope you enjoyed viewing the photos. I know it's quite hard, but it's something that I feel very close to, and my very reason why I'm so glued to photography and doing portrait work, because I think we do have a duty and we have the power to make change in our world.